Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Level B 1, Oxford Reading University. Part 2, you will find Part 1 in the description.
On his way out, Utterson asked Poole about the person that had delivered the letter. However, Poole claimed he hadn't received any notes that day. Then how did Jekyll get that letter? Utterson wondered. He was seriously worried, so he asked his chief clerk to advise him on the matter. The clerk was an expert in handwriting. He examined a note written by Jekyll and the one written by Hyde, and came to a frightening conclusion. Both letters were most likely written by the same person. Impossible, thought Utterson. Henry Jekyll wrote that letter for Hyde. He's trying to hide the criminal. Time went on. There was no sign of Hyde anywhere, and Jekyll seemed to be back to his usual life. He looked healthy. He invited his old friends to his home, where they talked and laughed. One day, however, Utterson came to see Jekyll, but Poole told him the doctor was not receiving visitors. The same thing occurred a few days later. After a week, Utterson decided to go see Dr. Lanyon and ask him about Jekyll's unusual behavior. When he came in, he was shocked by Dr. Lanyon's appearance. The doctor was pale and thin. He seemed to have aged. Utterson thought that he looked like a dying man. "I have had a shock," said Dr. Lanyon, "and I will never get better. In a couple of weeks I will be dead. Life has been pleasant, though. I liked it. Used to like it." "Jekyll is also ill," said Utterson. "Have you seen him?" Dr. Lanyon's face changed and he started shaking. "Do not mention this name ever again. He is dead to me." "Oh. Can I do anything to help both of you?" "Nothing can be done," said Dr. Lanyon. "Go ask him." "He refuses to see me." "I'm not surprised," Dr. Lanyon replied. "Now please, let's talk about something else." Once Utterson came back home, he sat down to write a letter to Jekyll, asking about their argument with Lanyon and Jekyll's strange behavior.
English courses, famous audiobooks for all levels, word games, and rating charts to keep you motivated. All in one place, the Ava app. Don't just learn English, enjoy it. Check out appewa.com right now.
The reply was mysterious and not easy to understand. "Lanyon did not do anything wrong, but I agree that we must never meet again," Jekyll wrote. "Meanwhile, I apologize, but I will not be able to see you either. I have been careless, and now I am being punished for it, but I ought to deal with this alone." 2 weeks later, Dr. Lanyon died. Straight after that, Utterson received a letter from him. On the envelope was written, "For G.J. Utterson only." Inside was another envelope with the following words: "Do not open until the death or disappearance of Dr. Henry Jekyll." Although Utterson was really intrigued, he was an honest man, so he did not open the envelope, and he locked it in the cupboard. On Sunday, Utterson was walking with Mr. Enfield when they came close to Jekyll's house. "By the way," said Enfield, "I found out that the mysterious door actually led to the laboratory at the back of Dr. Jekyll's house. Why didn't you tell me?" "Well, now you know," said Utterson. "Shall we go into the courtyard and look into Jekyll's window? Maybe he will see us and feel better." To their surprise, the window was open, and Jekyll sat there. He looked incredibly upset. "Jekyll!" Utterson shouted. Are you feeling better?" "I feel even worse," replied Jekyll. "It will not go on for much longer, though, thank God." "Maybe you should go out and get some fresh air." "I'm sorry, I can't. But I'm happy to talk to you," said Jekyll with a smile. Suddenly his smile was gone, and a look of horror appeared on his face. Utterson and Enfield did not have the time to understand what happened, because the doctor shut the window immediately, without any explanation. They did not know what to think, and left in a state of shock. One night, Utterson was visited by Poole. The servant was really worried. He said that something was wrong with Jekyll, and asked Utterson to go with him. The night was dark and windy. The hall was brightly lit when they entered, and all the servants were there. They were frightened. One of the women was crying. Poole told Utterson to follow him to the door of Jekyll's study. The servant knocked and said, "Mr. Utterson would like to see you, sir." "Tell him I cannot see anyone," said a voice from behind the door. The voice did not sound like Dr. Jekyll's. "I think my master was murdered," Poole told Utterson. "This voice belongs to the criminal. He's always asking for some chemical powders. I tried to find them, but he keeps saying they aren't right." He then told Utterson that he saw the murderer. The man was wearing a mask and ran away from Poole as soon as he saw him. He was much smaller than Jekyll, so Poole believed it was someone else, possibly Mr. Hyde. After hearing all this, Utterson decided that they needed to break into the room and find out what was going on. They found an axe, and Poole started breaking the door with it. Someone inside the room screamed like an injured animal. Poole did not stop, and after some time the heavy door fell. The two men entered the room and found Edward Hyde on the ground, dead, with a broken glass bottle in his hand. "He must have poisoned himself," Utterson said. Poole noticed that he was wearing Jekyll's suit, which was too large for him. On the table, they found an envelope with Utterson's name on it. There was Henry Jekyll's will inside it, with Hyde's name changed to Utterson's. A note from Jekyll stated that Utterson had to go home and read Lanyon's letter. If he wished to learn more, he could read Jekyll's letter too. Utterson went home and promised Poole to come back that same night and call the police. Dr. Lanyon's letter. On the 9th of January, now 4 days ago, I received an envelope from Henry Jekyll. I was surprised because we were not used to exchanging letters. The contents increased my wonder. Here is what he wrote. "Dear Lanyon, I know we disagreed on scientific matters before, but my life is now in your hands. I am in great danger, and I need you to help me. This evening, go to my house and meet Poole there. He has received his directions. You will need to break the lock and access my study. Find a book, a small bottle, and a pack of chemical powders in the glass cupboard, and take it with you. At midnight, a man will come and take these things from you." After reading this letter, I thought Jekyll was absolutely mad, but I did what he said. At midnight, there was a knock on my door. I put a gun in my pocket just in case and opened the door. A stranger in clothes that were too big for him stood there. He entered and asked, "Have you got it?" I gave him the substances. He asked for a medicine glass and then said, "Now you can leave the room or experience magic that no scientist has ever seen before. It can make you rich and famous." I stayed. He laughed and drank the mixture. Then he let out a cry. He shook and breathed heavily, his mouth wide open. He was changing into Henry Jekyll. I will not tell you what I heard from Jekyll in the next hour. As a scientist, I wouldn't have believed it all if I had not seen it with my own eyes. I was deeply shaken and have since then lost sleep. I feel that I am going to die soon. I will say one more thing. The creature that visited my house that night was known by the name of Hyde. Dr. Jekyll's Letter. I was born into a rich family. I have always been healthy and clever, and as a young man I was already a famous doctor. It felt quite uncomfortable. On the surface I was a serious scientist, leading an academic life, but inside I was an active, fun-loving young man. Now I understand that there are always two sides to every person's character. At the time, however, I thought it would be convenient if I could divide these two parts of me. What if there was a drug that could give each of them a separate face and body? I studied many books and found the recipe. I knew I risked death by experimenting with such powerful substances, but my interest was too strong. I bought the last ingredient that I lacked, a special salt, then combined the chemicals and drank the liquid. The process of changing was painful and violent. I felt something cruel inside me, but I also felt extremely free. I looked in the mirror and liked what I saw, though later I learnt that everyone took a strong dislike to Hyde. He was absolutely evil. That is why. So I welcomed Hyde. I found accommodation for him and opened a bank account. When I wanted to live a carefree life, I turned into Hyde. Then I drank the mixture and became myself again, though it was more difficult to return to my normal state. It was my worst mistake to abuse the drink. Hyde soon became stronger than me, and I started turning into him against my will, mainly at night. This scared me, and I decided to quit the drug. For 2 months my life was peaceful. Then I gave in to my darkest side again, and that was the night Hyde committed murder. Hyde took great pleasure in killing poor Carew. When I learned about it, I fell on my knees and prayed to God for forgiveness. I decided to forget Hyde forever, closed the laboratory, and threw away the key. Everything was going well until one January day, when I sat in a park enjoying the fine weather. Suddenly, I felt terribly ill and realized I had turned into Hyde. I felt brave, but I also knew I had to hide from the police. I needed to find a way to get my drug and become myself again. That was when I asked Lanyon for help. Since that day, I had to take a double dose of the drug every 6 hours to avoid spontaneously becoming Hyde. One of these transformations happened when Ewan Enfield came to visit me. Meanwhile, I ran out of my drug, and despite my best efforts, could not find the right salt to make a new one. Hyde would eventually win and consume Jekyll forever. I am writing this after taking the last remaining dose of the drug. Hyde will probably kill himself or get arrested and hanged when I am not there anymore. Anyway, if you are reading this letter, know that your friend Henry Jekyll is gone forever.
Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more free audiobooks like this. And now, here's another English story for you.